Okay, my name's Steph from Phyx, Physio and Pilates. Thank you for joining me. I just feel stiff as a board today, so I'm going to have a stretch, and I thought I'd record it and record a few other things. A couple things: if you have pelvic floor concerns, maybe don't do this. And if your separation is more than 2 centimeters, I also wouldn't do this. And if you're completely new to Pilates, I also wouldn't do this. I'm not sure what I'm going to do today, but just a disclaimer, just to make sure that we keep you safe. Stop if you have pain. Stretching is obviously okay, but pain is not okay. So just stop, skip that exercise, then we'll move on to the next. Okay, I'm going to start with some mermaid stretches, possibly my favourite stretch ever. When we're doing our mermaids, we want this knee to be careful with. You might feel a pinch in this hip, that's fine, ignore it. If this knee is a problem, you'll have to put your leg out. And now, my sit bones are pressing onto the mat. Some of you are a bit stiff, so you'll be off on an angle like this. But over time, as you practice it, and normally this hip will be the one that's lifted, you will be able to get that, not necessarily will, but if you practice it, there's a chance that hip's going to go down. My rib cage is nice and straight. Which way are we going? There, some center. All right, arms out. Let's take a big breath in through the nose, and we'll breathe out. Drop the elbow down, stretch the fingers across. This hip, I'm pushing down to the mat as these fingers are going across and opening through the chest rather than this. Inhale, grow nice and tall, and exhale, focus on over and up rather than collapsing down. That's exaggerating, most of you probably be something like that. But I'm really over and up and lengthening this side. So creating space in my waist as I do this exercise. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathing in and breathing out. I'm going to hold this one here and then just turn down. So the thing I said not to do before, we're going to do now. And I'm breathing into the back of my rib cage here, just to try and get some movement through those back ribs. My upper back is my weak spot in terms of there's zero flexibility there. So hunched with the kids and my job. So I do a lot of work through this. I'm going to do the same thing, twisting forward and just breathing into here. Come back to the middle. While I'm here, dropping my chest straight on top of the knees and hands forward, head down if you can. Just feeling a stretch in the back of the hip, maybe in the front of the hip if you're very tight in the capsule. And slowly coming up. Let's change those legs. Okay, so I always take a minute to make sure that my sit bones are down. Elongate through the spine. Big breath in, create that space in the waist, and then we'll breathe out and try and push this hip down. This is my stiff side, so I kind of just give it a bit of a push on this side. Breathe in, grow nice and tall. Exhale, breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. One more. This one, we're just going to turn down, and I'm focusing the breath into the back ribs. Even if I don't feel like I'm doing much, just using my mind's eye. Over time, over weeks practicing, you do start to get the movement here. But initially, if you're not used to it, you might feel like nothing's happening. That's okay. Let's head to the other side. And we're just going to turn. And drop my weight chest on top of my knee. Just sinking down. Feeling that stretch in the back of the hip, hopefully. Maybe in the front, a little pinch. And coming back up. All right, let's pop the feet out. My feet are flexed, so toes towards the nose. And feet slightly, I'm going to point, oh no, I'll keep them flexed. Feet slightly wider than the hips. hands on your thighs. Sit nice and tall, open the chest. Let's take a breath in and then we'll breathe out. We're rounding the spine, sucking in the belly. Inhale, hold it, feel that stretch in the back of the legs. And then exhale and we slowly stack our spine into sitting. So we'll inhale, just grow tall. So use your postural muscles to elongate up. And then we'll exhale, come forward from the waist. And then round through the spine up towards the head. Reach your fingers to your toes. Breathe in and breathe out. As you sit up, it's from the bottom part first. So we're going to straighten the lower back, and then the middle back, and then the upper back, and then the head and the neck. Breathe in, use the postural muscles, create that space in the waist. It's quite hard to do. And then breathe out from the waist, forward, round the spine, suck in the belly. Reach to the feet, inhale. And exhale, back up from the pelvis first, stacking your spine up to the head. Let's go one more, breathe in. And breathe out, forward, draw in the belly. Breathe in and hold. And breathe out. Take the feet wide. Now I want you to be able to sit with a straight back. So if you are not able to, you need to bring your feet closer. Or if you've got a little block, you can wedge it underneath there, or your chi ball or towel or whatever. Just wedge something underneath your butt so you're up tall. And again, my postural muscles, my waist, my abdominals, my spinal muscles are working hard to sit tall. And because I haven't done this in a while, my hip flexors are already sore. I'm going to take the arms out even harder. We're going into the sore. Okay, let's breathe in. We're going to breathe out and rotate. And we'll just chop our baby finger with our baby toe. And we're going to look to our backhand and we feel the stretch down that leg. And then we sit up tall, nice and slow. And then we exhale, twist. Chop, baby finger, baby toe. Look to your backhand. And breathe in to sit up. Breathe out to twist and stretching forward. Breathe in to sit up. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in, just so you can see what it looks like. Now that I've loosened up a little bit, I'm focusing on using my abdominals to bring myself forward. So it's controlled. The first couple are a little looser, so I'll use a tiny bit of momentum. And as I've loosened up, it's for my abdominals. We're just going to go for one more. Let's bring the feet together and we'll roll back. We'll head into some bridging for spinal articulation. So just rounding as you roll down. I want my feet in line with my knees, in line with my hips and my shoulders. So 2 train tracks. The thing I watch for is that my feet might be in alignment, but my pressure as I peel up drops to the big toes. I need my pressure to stick evenly through the little toes, big toes and heels. So just press those little toes in. Normally the big toes will do their work, so don't worry about it too much. Then we take a big breath in, expand through the ribs nice and wide. And as we breathe out, we roll the pelvis, letting the tummy hollow, the organs fall down and slowly peeling up. Just to the point where my body is straight in line with my thighs. This is overextending because I'm arching my back. So I just want to make sure I keep that posterior pelvic tilt, which is where I've tilted this way. Breathe in and breathe out to release. So just soften through the ribs, press them down, press the lower back, and then roll the pelvis back to that neutral position. Breathe in, breathe out, peel the tail up, draw in the tummy, so let the organs full, we're hollowing that out. Raising up, inhale, and exhale. Think about those toes again now that you know what you're doing. Check you've got your weight towards the baby toes, big toes, heels, nice and evenly. Breathe in. Breathe out, peeling up. When we inhale, your air's going into your ribs. You're not blowing up your stomach. It takes a little bit of practice to get that inhale and the air focused in this direction, this lateral movement. Same thing here, as I inhale, I'm not blowing up my stomach, I'm focusing on the ribs moving wide, and then I exhale. The ribs will naturally draw together. Raise up onto your toes. Do your best to not move your feet closer to your bottom. It's easier if you move those feet. We'll just go one more. One leg to the ceiling, try and support behind the knee or the calf. Flex and point, flex and point. Two more. And we should be feeling this in the back of our leg. If you're feeling it in your lower back, just stop the flexing and pointing, just keep your foot relaxed. Okay. We're going into scissors, so I'll just quickly show you what it looks like, then we'll work into it. So we're going to roll up, and this is this exercise. So it is a stretch. It's also for our tummy. If you have any separation tummy issues, you shouldn't be doing it. We're going to peel up, and headaches as well, just be careful. So you're going to peel up and you look at your belly button. If you look at your knees or your toes, puts too much pressure on your neck, you'll go home with a headache potentially. So curl up nice and tight, hold those knees, brace the tummy, so draw it down. I'm carrying my weight in my midsection. And now I can straighten my knees and all the work's happening here. And we're just going to pull one ankle towards us. And I'm thinking about bringing my chest towards my knees, not my knee towards my chest. So I'm using my abdominals to do the work. Exhale as the leg comes towards you. Inhale back to the center. We're meant to give it a little pulse at the top. So now you're loose. Let's just do a double exhale. See if you can come up that little bit higher. Nice couple. So the chest is nice and high off the floor. And last one. Hug those knees in, just lower your top half down. Let's pop those feet down, hands to the side, breathe in and breathe out. Rock your knees over. Breathe into the middle, breathe out. Breathe into the middle. You've got one sock around both of your feet. So as you twist from one side to the other, those feet stay together. Last one. Alright. Bring those knees up. Just rock up into sitting, cross your legs over onto your hands and knees. If you can't do that for whatever reason, just flip. We're coming down onto actually we'll do some calf stretch while we're here. Let's go hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Have your back so it's sinking down to the floor and your tail is pointing up to the ceiling. Then we're going to lift our chest and if you can, your head. So you stretch it all through that front section. Separation people, be careful. Neck people, also be careful. Now when we're going into our cat, we're going to start from this end. Tuck your tail under. So I'm pushing my tail down, I'm sucking my belly in. And then I'm rounding up towards my head. So I've gone from this end. And then the chin's the last thing to tuck in. And that will help me not to just do this. As I said, I'm so stiff in my upper back, so I'm really good at this one. I want to more have encourage this section to round as well, and this section to do some work, not always here. So if I start down here and draw the belly in, it will mean there's a more balanced flexion stretch. And then when we go the other way, we're going to go from this end first. So look, drop the chest down. So I'm focusing on the chest down, everything, then the belly, and then the tail up. So when we're doing this one, the common thing that will happen is we're just arching here and we're not really arching here. So I'm really trying to drop my chest down and my spine down between my shoulder blades. And then let's tuck the tail under, draw the belly in, round through the spine, chin to chest, and arching down. Last one. Toes together, knees apart, sit on your heels. So I'm really trying to get my bum onto my heels. And then creep my hands forward, head down. If my bottom just went like this, just put your weight back. You want to get the heels, bottom to heels first, just so that you're working on hip flexion. If you kind of go forward, you skip the hip flexion stretch and a little bit of knee. If you've got knee issues, you might have to do that, and that's okay. Remember, it shouldn't be painful, it should just be a stretch. And we're going to creep our hands to the left side of our mat, right hand on the floor, left hand on top. Drop the chest down towards the floor. Breathe into the front of your left hip, you're relaxing it. Over to the right side of your mat, left hand on the floor, right hand on top. Breathe into the front of that right hip. Just sink into it. You might feel a pinch in the front of the hip, that's okay. If there's twinging in the knee, you better stop. And come back to the middle. Now let's come onto our tummy. So we'll just come down flat. And we're just going to break this down a little bit. We'll go into Cobra. Let's start with some Sphinx. Hands out to the side. Toes together, heels apart. That will help you just to relax the glutes. If you keep your legs parallel, you'll tend to squeeze your glutes, which is your bottom, and also the front of your thighs. So this will help to just isolate our lower back. Imagine you're resting your arms on eggshells. Just going to add some breathing with this one. So let's take a big breath in. Focus on the ribs, and if you can, the back ribs. Air going into them rather than blowing your tummy into the floor. And then as we exhale, we're just going to use our lower back muscles to lift our chest and our head up. So I'm not pressing in with my arms. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in, air going into the ribs. Try not to feel the belly go down into the floor. Breathe out. Raise the chest up. We're using the lower back muscles so you can feel tight here. Inhale again, expanding the ribs. And exhale. If you can, lift the arms up for this one. So we'll breathe in, we'll lift the arms up. And then breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. One more. Breathe in, arms up. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Just so we've woken up that lower back. We're going to go into our Cobra. Pop your hands under your shoulders. Elbows tight by your chest. And keep those legs relaxed. So just check the heels are still out to the side. And then we'll inhale. And as we exhale, let's lift the chest up. So the same feeling as what we just had. We're using our back muscles to lift. This is why we did that first exercise. Some people just go, and they don't really do this thing properly. So you want to use the back muscles first. And now we're pushing hands slowly and gently into the floor. Breathe in. And breathe out. Inhale, just hold. And exhale, raise the chest. And now let's push with the arms. Breathe in. And breathe out. Awesome. Breathing. And breathe out. We're going to hold here. Focus on the chest being open, not doing this. So my elbows are soft, there's a slight bend in them. And back down. Okay, slowly pushing up. And we'll just finish here. Thanks for joining me. I hope you're feeling a little bit looser than when you started.